So the Houston Texans, they lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm gonna do my little recap of the game, and also I'm gonna do more of a what should the Texans do to have a good off season and be able to compete against these teams next year. I'm gonna have no cuts. This is gonna be very minimalistic in editing because after a game like that, I don't have a lot of energy to be cutting and doing a lot of stuff. So you're just gonna be you, if you're a Texan fan, sit down, relax, comment down below. What are your thoughts? If I'm right, if I'm wrong. But here's the thing. To me, there's tier ones in the AFC. The tier ones are the Chiefs, the Ravens, and the Bills. The Texans have always been in a tier two, whether it was with Matt Schaub, Deshaun Watson, or with CJ Stroud. We've always been a tier two team. I think the Texans can beat any team in the AFC in a playoff game besides those three. And that's a problem because the reason why the Texans are 0-6 in the divisional round is because we're facing the Chiefs. It's because we're facing the Ravens. It's because we're facing Tom Brady. Like we never was able to get into that tier one where we're actually able to compete and make it like legitimate. And this whole season, a lot of stupidity, a lot of bad play. And, last week against the Chargers was very impressive. The defense played really well, and the defense is elite. I think the defense is definitely worthy of being in a Super Bowl. It's the offense. It's always been the offense. And the biggest weakness from what I saw today and from what I saw period is always going to be the offensive line. And if your interior O-line is your biggest weakness, then you have a big problem. That's a huge problem. The only thing that comes close to being bad for a position group to be a weakness for your team is the secondary. Your secondary is a position of strength. Your O-line is a position of weakness because if your O-line is weak, it affects all aspects. It affects your quarterback, obviously. It affects your running game, your running backs. It affects your receivers because it affects your quarterback. It's like your O-line is so important. It's literally the most important group possible. If I had an elite offensive line and a mediocre quarterback, I would take that every day. Because that mediocre quarterback will look really freaking good. So, Nick Caserio, man, you got to be aggressive in this offseason and fix that. Because the people that are playing in that position are not good enough. They're not good enough. It needs to be adjusted immediately. It has to. I hope you're aggressive. You need to be aggressive because that can't be your position of weakness. I would take any other position. Almost any other position besides the offensive line. Also, Bobby Slowick and whoever the O-line coach is, I forgot his name, but whoever he is, he got to go. They got to go. They got to go because they not good. They're not good. Bobby Slowick, I mean, I'm not saying everything is your fault, but, the regression of this offense and the play calling this whole season has just been egregious, and I can't have you be on this team anymore. The offensive line coach, I mean, bro, you're not teaching them anything for real. I don't know what you're teaching them, but it's nothing for real because they're not good. They're not good, bro. I'm so tired of CJ running for his life. And CJ has some blame too. He has a good amount of blame because, throw the ball away. Like he's making rookie mistakes and it's just like, who is coaching him? Like who coaches him into regression? Like he was much better at this last year. Like all the things he was really good at last year, he regressed significantly. And I'm just like, those are not things you usually regress at. Like throwing the ball away, anticipation, all those things, accuracy. Like those things you don't regress at usually, especially to such a extreme degree. So we need to fix the offensive coaching significantly. So you need to get out of that. It don't work. Wherever you're trying to, it don't work, Bobby, you got to go. Please, D'Amico, be prepared for that. Another gap, I'd say, those are two main gaps. The receivers, we need another receiver as well. You can draft the wide receiver, pick one up at free agency, but Nico Collins is a stud, but, John Mechie and Hutchinson, you're not expecting too much out of them, but they're just not doing enough. Like, they're not NFL players for real. Like, they're NFL players. I'm not saying they're not. It's just they're not impact players. They're not going to be like a guy who's like pretty good for you, a good third wide receiver 3, and then, he goes to another team and blossoms. He's not going to have that type of plot. They're definitely kind of just guys, and they get kind of underwhelming. You definitely need to get another receiver. Tank Dell is going to probably not play next year. Stephon Diggs, you don't know what his future is. So I would definitely try to get a number 2 wide receiver and aggressively pursue that. The Texans are not as far as you may think. If you're a Texan fan, don't be too upset at the loss. Like, don't expect a win. Like, you're facing the Chiefs in Kansas City. The referees are not going to allow you to win that game. If you watch the game, the referees were egregious. Everyone on Twitter will agree. The referees are egregious. There's a lot of missed calls. It's a lot of missed calls. They just didn't call stuff. And that's the thing. You have to get past your own stupidity first, and then second, you got to beat the referees and the Texans. To do that, you have to be an elite team. You got to be a tier 1 team. You got to be the Ravens or Bills, maybe, because they haven't beat them yet. But you got to be the Ravens or Bills to be able to do it. Only 2 people have ever beaten Mahomes in the AFC, Tom Brady and Joe Burrow. So Lamar, Josh, whoever wins, got a tall tale next week, bro. But yeah, the Texans, I mean, you're tier 2. There's definitely a gap. Cammy Fairbairn, he also deserves some blame, a good amount. The field goal problems, there's a good amount of points left off the board because he wasn't, doing well. But, people like, you should cut him. I'm not cutting Fairbairn. I wouldn't cut Fairbairn. Like, he's the all-time Texan scorer. He's been here 10 years or so. All-time scorer in Texans history. Like, it's a bad game, but it's not I don't think it's a game that should define his whole career. Maybe you give him some competition. That's fine, but not cut him. But yeah, man, I mean, this game is definitely not fun. Definitely sucks, but I expected it, so I'm not really down for real. It's, I just wanted to see, this was more of a game for me to see what were we missing and was anything different. And yes, we're missing receivers, offensive linemen, and good offensive coaching. If you fix those 3, if this defense returns next year and you get a good O-line, I'm not even talking about some elite Detroit Lion O-line. Just give me a good O-line. Like CJ, I think was the 2nd most sacked quarterback in the league. Like, just give me an O-line and makes him the 14th most sacked quarterback. Just an average O-line. Doesn't have to be all-time great O-line. If you give me a good O-line and you give me some receivers, like some extra receivers for CJ, some weapons. If you do those 2 things, and I mean, hopefully Brevin Jordan, the tight end, comes back because he's a good blocker. Dalton Schultz, you are not. I mean, he had a very disappointing season. Dalton Schultz, a very disappointing season. But if you focus on those things, man, I really think the Texans can make some noise, man. But you really have to lock in this offseason because you don't want to waste CJ Stroud's rookie contract. You don't want to do that. It would be a detriment completely to your team. So please don't waste his contract. Last year we were all like glitz and glamour and uniforms, and we got the all these players coming in, and oh my gosh, we're gonna do this and that. We wasn't gonna do nothing. I could tell from the vibes of the offseason. I was like, man, it's too much hype. This offseason, let's keep it a little more under wraps. CJ, do less podcasts, right? Focus more on watching film and getting better. Do a little more less media stuff and focus more on getting better at football. Make sure you have the right personnel to be successful. You got to beat the tier 1s. You got to beat Baltimore and the Chiefs. And from what I'm seeing, if you play the Chiefs 10 times, you play Baltimore 10 times, you lose every time. And you're like, oh, well, Jesse, those games were kind of close against the Chiefs. Bro, you're going to lose 10 straight times. The referees and everybody you're going to lose every time. And if that's the case, you're wasting CJ Stroud's career because he'll never make a Super Bowl. So in order to get past that, you have to be aggressive in this offseason and focus on building the trenches. You have the D-line. You have the quarterback. I told you there's 3 ways to beat a successful team, a Super Bowl level team. You have the D-line and you have the quarterback. That's 2 out of 3. Your weakness is offensive line. That's number 3. That's honestly the most important. You could take Brock Purdy, a 7th round pick, last pick in the draft, but he has the elite O-line. He's in the Super Bowl. That's what it takes. You don't need to have an elite quarterback. You need elite O-line. Elite O-line will take a good quarterback to an elite level. So that's all I'm saying. Focus on that and let's get better. If you're a Texan fan, man, comment down below what you're thinking about the loss. Comment down below what you think the Texans need. In the comments, man, let's chat. I'm gonna reply to every single comment. I'm gonna agree, disagree. Let's have a little community building in the comment section. So comment down below if you're a Texan fan, or if you're just a fan if you're not a Texan fan and you just hate that the Chiefs just be with these referees to be pissing you off. I know most of America hate the Chiefs. So yeah, comment down below, say your thoughts. For more content like this, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're very close to 1,700. And also sign up for our sponsor, Boom Fantasy. If you want to make me feel better after a tough loss, just use the promo code SPORTSFACTORY. NFL playoffs is happening, so first $100 is risk-free when you put in your picks. So place your picks. There's deals every single day. And like I said, first $100 is risk-free. Promo code SPORTSFACTORY, all in the link in the description. With that, guys, I'm going to catch you on the next video. No more Texans content for a while. I'm out of here. Peace.